What is up, guys? I'm so excited to bring this interview recording to you today. It is with an interview I did with the rich dad himself, Robert Kiyosaki, and 1LifeFullyLived is an organization that I work for, and they are hosting an event with Robert Kiyosaki, both in person in Scottsdale, Arizona later this month, and then also we're going to be doing a global online event with Robert as well. So if you guys want information on how you can get involved with that Cashflow event, just drop an emoji and I'll let you know. Otherwise, I just want to give you an opportunity to watch this interview. It was an incredible interview, and not because I did it, but really because he had so much value to share. So if you guys can hear the audio on the video, let me know. And otherwise, if you guys have any questions about the event, throw those down there. But I hope you guys enjoy this interview. Hang out with us. What's different? You know, the Rich Dad series started, a number of years ago. The board game came out a number of years ago. However, you have some time-tested strategies and philosophies that seem to work regardless of markets and stuff like that. So why do you think it's still important for people to be playing a game like Cashflow, and why do you think that the Rich Dad principles are still relevant in a 2018 world?
Well, I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. April 8th marks the first year of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it's more relevant today than it was 21 years ago. Right now, I'm expecting the mother of all financial crashes to hit within a year to 18 months. So I'm preparing for this crash. And it's going to be probably 10 times bigger than 2008.
Now, for most people, that's bad news. But for those who are prepared, it's good news. And as you know, I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad very simply because in 1971, the US dollar went off the gold standard. And so the US dollar became fake money. So today, there are three types of money in the world today. Number one is God's money. And God's money is gold and silver. You know, gold is atomic number 79, and silver is atomic number 47, I believe. And they were here before humans, and gold and silver will be here long after humans are gone. And gold and silver have always been money. It's God's money. The second type of money is government money, and that's the US dollar. It's called fiat currency. The yuan, the euro, the peso, the yen. And I think those are going to disappear because they've been printing. They printed more money now than in 2008 than any other time in history. And then the third type of money is people's money or cyber currency. You know, the most popular are Bitcoin and Ethereum. I own lots of Ethereum. So anyway, this whole idea of going to school to get a job and work for money and save money, if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad 21 years ago, is really a stupid idea.
Sure. We've got all types of people in this group, Robert. And one thing I love about your mission is you've really helped people to be beginners. You know, my grandma gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 8 years old, and I had no idea what she was doing, but I'm so grateful she did it because it makes sense now. and she did a great thing. But we also have masters. You know, we mentioned that at the event there's going to be people like David Osborne and people who are investing large amounts of money and doing great things with their wealth. So what principles are still there for, maybe let's start with someone who's a brand new and a beginner. If someone is just waking up to this stuff, you mentioned being prepared, for someone who's at the beginning of their path, which a lot of people in this community are, what can they be doing to make sure that they are prepared financially moving forward?
Well, I always ask the question, what does school teach you about money?
Not a lot, if anything.
And do you think that's an accident?
Probably not.
No, it's not. Okay. And every year, in New Year's, the same old guys get on Today Show and CNBC. They say, oh, what advice do you have? This is it. Oh, go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, and invest in a 401k. And that's how stupid people are. They have no idea what they're being told to do. They just follow like Pavlovian dogs and, salivate when they ring the bell. Now, that's why I do what I do. So my question to everybody is this, everybody says, well, do what you love. And I think that's really a silly idea, because you really should invest in what you love. So you have to understand what's real today. My next book coming out this month is called Fake, because this world is full of fake money, fake teachers. The US dollar is fake. Most school teachers are fake, and most assets are fake, because in this next crash, they're going to find out the hard way that what they put their money in an IRA is going to be disappearing. It's going to be toast. So the question is, what's going to remain after the next crash? And that takes education. So I invest only in what I love. I love real estate. I love gold and silver. I love oil and gas. I'm an entrepreneur in real estate. I own 8,500 units. I love gold and silver. I have millions in gold and silver. I've started a gold mine and a silver mine. I've taken them public on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And I love oil and gas. I went to school to be an oil and gas tanker driver. I drove oil tankers.
Tell me this though, Robert, because I think that
invest your education in what you invest in. That's what you'll learn. But if you don't have any idea, you might as well listen to Susie Orman on, CNBC or PBS.
In your cash flow quadrant, before people get to the investor part, there's this they go through the self-employed and the business owner, and a lot of
most don't make it. That's the
let's talk about that, because a lot of the people in our community are either entrepreneurs themselves. They see that opportunity of breaking out of that 9 to 5. So for an entrepreneur in 2018 who wants to be prepped and ready, what principles can they glean from the rich dad philosophies that'll still impact them today?
You have to understand taxes. If you're an entrepreneur, a small entrepreneur with less than 500 employees, you'll pay the highest taxes of all. And even with the Trump tax cuts, they got a break from 60% tax down to 50% tax, but they're temporary. The employee class, with the quadrant, the employee class, they got a slight tax break, but they lost deductions. So let that settle into your head. So Trump gave them a tax break, but they have fewer deductions. Now, the tax break is temporary. The loss of deductions is permanent. We let those thoughts settle in your head. You understand why going to school to get a job or be a small entrepreneur is possibly the worst positions you can be in without further what I call real financial education.
What is that to you? Because that was going to be my next question. Is it sounds like education is necessary, and you've talked you've built an empire off of educating people in finances and real estate. So what are some of the hallmarks of that financial education? If you had to instill it into another person, what are some of those key things that you think are important?
Well, I have this here. I handed it out to you guys. It's probably the most important piece of paper when you look at what education is, called the cone of learning. I
posted it, guys. Everybody who's on live, the link, if you guys want it, is in the chat there, so you guys can pull it up. Do you want me to put it on the screen, Robert?
Well, you can look at it later on. Look, the most thing is, if you go to school, it's at the bottom of the coin. It's down here. This is what going to school does. It's called reading and lecture. And so all the academic geniuses, like my poor dad, they're really good at reading and they're good at lecture. If you look at the top of the coin up here, the two best ways, or the very best ways, are doing the real thing and then simulations. So we're going to get together, we're going to play the cash flow game. The cash flow game is a simulation. The most successful people in the world are always running simulations in real life, real time. So I play cash flow. I played the cash flow game so people could simulate what it's like to go through being a professional investor. And you don't have to do it with real money. The trouble is most people who are employees and they shift to being small entrepreneurs, they're still in their heads because they went to school. My classmates were all these PhDs and all that. I make more money in a day than they make in a year. But I have a degree from Stanford. I go, yeah, 30, 50 years ago. He said, the trouble is, if you're going to school, it freezes your brain in time. So the reason the cash flow game is a simulation, again, it's at the top of the cone of learning. You can see it. It's simulation. When I was a pilot getting ready to go to Vietnam, I practiced crashing every single day. I simulated a crash. When it happened for real, it happened 3 times in Vietnam. I went down 3 times. But because I practiced it every single day, when it happened, I lived. So I'm saying there's a crash coming. May not be 2018, possibly by 2019, definitely by 2020. Robert, what's going to happen is guys like me will get richer, and the guys with their college degrees will get poorer. So that's what's going to happen. So that's why I'm excited about coming to teach the cash flow game, but you guys have got to be willing to practice. You don't just play one game once. You don't learn to be a pro golfer practicing once. And that's where most people are when they start businesses. They get this idea, I'm going to start a company. They've taken no classes on it. They don't have the skill set. They don't have the mindset. They don't understand debt. They don't understand taxes. And then they wonder why they're going to annihilate it out in the real world. That's the difference. I had a rich dad who kicked my ass. And that's what I do. I'm a Marine. I don't believe in, sensitivity training.
Are there any stories that you think about that the cash flow game has been out? I believe it's coming up on, similarly, it's been out for over a decade, right? If I'm not mistaken. Is there any stories or anything that you've seen that's been impacted? I mean, we have close to almost 500 people who are going to be playing, that day. Is there anything that they can look forward to, or can you think of any people who have been impacted that you've seen?
I'm not, you can ask somebody who's played the game. I'm going through TSA yesterday. I was in Honolulu, and the TSA agent said, yeah, I played your game once. Effing stupid that is. Now,
I always say don't do anything once.
No, it's what you practice. That's why doctors call the business of practice. Attorneys call the business of practice. That's why professional golfers spend all day long practicing. Mm. And so the average person has gone to school and they think, oh, well, I have a good idea. I have a book, I have a friend who's an entrepreneur. I'm just going to jump into business. And that's why they get hammered. 9 out of 10 small entrepreneurs die. That's the stats.
What are you practicing? You've been in this entrepreneurship, and I've heard you speak about this and the fact that you very much enjoy the game. So what are you on a daily basis? What are you practicing? I'd imagine you look at investing in entrepreneurship and life almost like a sport or a game. But what are these skills that on a daily basis you're waking up and still making sure that you're getting better at today?
Well, I think the most important thing is by a guy I met through your organization, Hal Elrod. His book, Miracle Morning, is the best book for, the guys who are getting ahead meditate, and they study, and they exercise. So Hal Elrod's book just changed my life because, I would go up and I drink my 5 cups of coffee and then go to work and then exercise when I'm through. So Miracle Morning is I get up, I meditate for half an hour, and I read spiritual books. Then I do scribing. I write down what I'm grateful for and all this stuff. And I do about 10 minutes of light exercise. I still work out. But the most important practice is Hal Elrod's book, Miracle Morning. How do you start your morning? And I know when I talk to most guys, all they think about is their to-do list. And they don't ever practice anything then. They just practice checking off their to-do list. And I meet so many guys and women who are not successful. So when I tell them, look, it's just miracle morning. Meditate for half an hour, read for 10 minutes, exercise for 10 minutes, let's get your body going. Write down what you're grateful for, then you hit your to-do list. That is possibly the biggest change in the last few years of my life, because I have everything. You know, I've written 2 books with the President of the United States. I had the most gorgeous, rich wife on planet Earth. I have more money than I could ever spend. You know, I don't need any more Ferraris. I don't need anything more. But the thing that Hal's book does, I'm going on a cruise to Puerto Rico. I'm taking Hal's book with me, plus my meditation books. And
he mentioned to me, he wanted me to ask what your favorite books were, and I wink, and he put a winky face. So he'd be smiling knowing that you mentioned this, because he was thinking about you too.
Look, it's what I practice. That's the thing. You see, you are what you practice. So if I practice having a drink every night, I'll become an alcoholic. And there's a lot of guys who have to have that drink every night. They're in trouble. It's killing their liver. You know, if you eat bad food, that's a practice. So anyway, that's the thing. It's what you practice every single day.
So this cone of learning, is this something that they're going to be talking about at the event? And
that is everything. That's all I talk about. What are you practicing?
So we'll put it up here just for those people who are catching the replay. But one thing at the top you mentioned is simulating a real experience, which is
that's second in line. Yeah, 90%. If you do that, you'll retain 90%. And doing the real thing, but the problem with going to school is they tell you don't make mistakes. Now, it's in the simulation line is where you make your mistakes. I make more mistakes than most people I know. It's always ass on the line making mistakes. And the average person, they want job security or they want to stay small, that's their choice. Or they don't read, or they don't study, they don't take classes. That's the difference. And at the bottom of the cone, if you get all the way at the bottom and move it up or down, look at going down, going down, going down. At the bottom of the cone, the worst way to learn is reading and lecture, hearing words. And see, if all these academic types, like Obama, I'm not Republican or Democrat, but Obama, Hillary, and those guys, they're academics. They don't know what they're talking about. Look at what's his name, Bernanke. He printed more money than anybody in the history of the world, and then he wonders why the gap between the rich and poor grows wider. Because these guys listen to words, they read. But you go to the top of the cone, they don't make mistakes. The most academic types, like my poor dad, they don't make mistakes. Whereas my rich dad said, you have to make mistakes because that's how we learn. That's the simulation at the top. And then you do the real thing.
I cut you off earlier, Robert, about investing. I think this would be a perfect time to kind of talk about, essentially within cash flow and within, what you practice and preach. What are some of these things that high level people are doing at the investing level? You mentioned you have to invest in what you love. Is there any other you have to's when it comes to investing the rich dad way?
You have to study. I take classes constantly. I don't go to school. School to me is a waste of time. It's too slow. It's 2 walls behind the times. But what I go to seminars, and I go to I'm going to a seminar tomorrow in Puerto Rico, because when you go to a seminar, you're in present time. And I'm also listening to guys who are at the top of the cone doing the real thing. Most school teachers, the reason they're fake is they don't do what they teach. My accounting teacher in the MBA program was never an accountant, an accounting degree, but he was never an accountant. He couldn't explain cash flow to me. And I wasn't even an accountant.
The irony.
The board game Cash Flow is a simulation. You play that game 100 times, you teach 100 people, you'll see Jesus next week. You know what I mean? It'll be open your mind up. You go, holy mackerel. But our schools tell you not to make mistakes because people who make mistakes are stupid. That is the worst crime they could ever do to a child. Tell them no. How does a child learn to walk? Well, they fall down. How did McIlroy become one of the great golfers? He made a lot of bad shots. How did Tiger Woods become great? Well, he started when he was 3 years old. He's still playing golf, still practicing every day. And the average guy goes out and starts a business with no real experience, coming with the mindset of a school teacher. Don't make mistakes. You have any idea how stupid that is? From my perspective. So that's why what Hal Elrod is doing is that when I started understanding, I've had his book now for about 8 years, I think, is that once I started tuning into what he was saying, some of the richest guys on earth meditate every single day. There's this guy named Ray Dalio of Bridgewater. He says it's the number one for him is his meditation. Now I tell guys in like my company, oh, it's bullshit. You know what I mean? And so that's why, and I tell people I take seminars. I am going to do a seminar in Puerto Rico. Why? Because it's devastated. I like it when crashes happen because everything's on sale. Everything's a bargain. Mm-hmm. Today, all these guys in real estate are offering me money. I mean, like, I got offered so much money for a property I just bought 2 years ago, and I don't like to sell. It takes a long time to find a cash flowing property. Mm-hmm. But he offered me so much money, it'll take me 20 years to make what I'm going to make by selling it today. And that's when you know it's going to crash, is when idiots are throwing money at stupid projects. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's going to be a good time once again, because all markets boom and all markets bust. But I practice every single day. Every single day, I'm looking at deals, I'm negotiating on a deal. That's what I do.
This has been a wonderful conversation, Robert. And you mentioned at the beginning that Rich Dad is coming up on its 21st year anniversary, which is, it's becoming an adult now. And, you know, it went through, and a lot of books are hot for 1 year. Some are hot for a few. Yours has really stood the test of time, and it's going down as one of the, you know, classics. So for someone who, the 5 people who have maybe never heard of the book or haven't read it, why should, I know you talked about it at the beginning, but we had a few more people hop on right now. Why should they pick it up, or why are the things that are valuable in that book, why are they still valuable today in this world?
Well, because I assume that most of your guys coming online went to school. I'll ask the question again, what did they teach you about money at school? And what they taught you to do was don't make mistakes. Listen to the lecture. I mean, how in the world, look at the cone of learning. How do you learn something? How do you learn to play golf if you don't make mistakes? You know, and the most important lesson to learn is you got to learn from your mistakes. That means you got to make mistakes, take risks. And most people come out of school risk averse. They want job security and steady paycheck. You know, yeah. It's really insane.
Absolutely.
I wish I had this book. There's a great book that came out. It's called Big Potential by Shauna Korn. I put a Big Potential on the level of Hal's book, Miracle Morning. Big Potential talks about how school has you focus on your small potential, not your big potential. So that's why I love the kick-ass man students. Yeah. Toast.
I love it.
Well, Rob, they think they have all the answers, and what Sean is saying, you don't have to be smart, and that's what I've been saying. You don't have to go to school to be rich. In fact, going to school is in the way. Look at Zuckerberg dropped out, Jobs dropped out, Dell dropped out, Branson dropped out, Disney dropped out, Ford dropped out, and that's why they're entrepreneurs. So that's why I start this whole thing. I said, what did school teach you about money? They told you not to make mistakes. And listen to a teacher who has no idea what they're talking about. My accounting teacher, I knew more about accounting than my accounting teacher. Imagine that. And I never went to accounting school. I just played Monopoly and stuff like that.
So one thing that came in right here, I'd love to talk about just the returns that you're seeing. They asked specifically in the real estate market, and you don't have to obviously talk numbers, but at the event in a few weeks, I'd imagine we're going to be hearing some insider strategies. So when you look at things like real estate or investing, where's your eye at, and how can you how can some people who are trying to grow in that area utilize the perspective that you have?
Well, the most important lesson is an infinite return. You know how you turn your money to a financial planner, they'll say that you'll get 8% because they're lying, but you don't get 8%. I don't want 8%. I want infinite returns. An infinite return is when you have a return on your money without any money. That's when you're good.
And you're talking about, and essentially, you're talking about other people's money, leveraging those types of things, all of that.
And dire straits, you know, they don't money for nothing, checks for free. Money for nothing, checks for free.
I love it.
I like it. I like making money out of nothing.
You've mentioned that in your talks that we posted in the group, that is essentially what kind of business is, or that's what, you know, that's essentially what I think you called it, like a magic power, I think is maybe what you might have called it in the past. So Robert, as we get out of here and wrap up, we're going to have an opportunity for people in the community to come hang out with you in person in Scottsdale in your home state of Arizona. There's still a few spots left if you guys want to come hang out. And then there's also an opportunity for everybody to play the Cashflow game. You have an online web app, right? Essentially, so people can play from home. We have a board game that you guys can buy on Amazon. So anything that you want to say to people who are listening or maybe thinking about coming to that event?
Well, you have to come to learn, but not what they taught you in school. I think the hardest thing for most entrepreneurs is to unlearn what they learned in school, or the mommy and daddy told them, go to school, get a job. Criminal, absolutely criminal. Don't make mistakes, criminal. I operate on principles, same as Ray Dalio's book, Principles. I say I have one principle. The reason I work with you guys is my principle is the more people I serve, the more effective I become. The only reason I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the only reason I create the cash flow game, the only reason I have the Rich Dad company is to serve more people. It's not to make money, because I know how to make money. It's automatic. It's like once you learn how to walk, you don't have to practice walking, you kind of walk. So I make money at everything I touch now. And that's why the infinite return is a practice. And I'll be talking about that at the event, where it's once you can make money out of nothing, you're free. But as long as you need money, you're a host.
Robert, we're going to leave it at that. This has been an amazing interview. This is incredible. You have a wealth of knowledge. I'm so excited. We're going to stick around on this call so we can answer any questions about the event. But you keep changing the world, and this is
like you guys. You just want to serve more people. You do that, life is good.
You are doing it. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, guys. We're going to stick around. You guys have. Whoa! I'm once again I'm out here taking notes. Again, off of that stuff, guys. If you guys learned anything from that interview, drop what you guys learned. Share any questions that you have. That was recorded on Thursday morning. You know, when the Rich Dad picks a time, you just kind of make it happen. So we weren't able to go live, but we wanted to bring it to you. And if you guys want to get involved with the event, so here's the way that it works. There are a few spots to come hang out in Arizona. Okay, it's 25 spots. You're gonna be hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki, David Osborne, right? Who's like almost in the 9-figure. He's almost a net worth billionaire, right? Just shy of it, a couple million short. Garrett Gunderson, the founder of the Wealth Factory, Jen Groover, and a bunch of other high-level people. I'm gonna be there, assuming everything goes well. I'm gonna be there, and so you guys can hang out. That event, there is a cost for that. So if you guys want to come to that event, reach out to me personally. Okay, it is not. It is an investment. Okay, a multi-$1,000 investment for sure. But you're going to get a chance to spend a day with Robert Kiyosaki and all those people. Now, if you were like me when I was first starting out and like dead broke, that's okay too, because there's an opportunity for you to get started and participate for free. So if you guys want to get involved, and there is a web app that you guys can use and play online with us, you're going to be able to hear talks from Jen Groover, David Osborne, Kiyosaki, and then you're actually going to be able to play. You know, collectively, there's going to be a bunch of almost 1,000 people playing at the same time, and it'll be a really awesome synergy. And so if you guys want to participate in that, there's an opportunity to get some free 1Life swag and a bunch of cool stuff. So the link is in the description there as well. The rest of you guys have an amazing weekend, and see you later.